Where is the main lobby? There it is. Found it. And it posted on my page. Awesome. Right. Okay, so we're here. Nathan! Hey! Thank you for inviting fans. How you doing? Oh, damn. Hello! Hello, hello. How are you? Working and stressing. Yeah. Same. Literally same. But I can stress a little less now because I got my new microphone. It finally arrived today, so we are working with Yeti pop filters and everything, so that's one little less stress. But yeah, more stress means now that sound settings are working, I have to do live on Saturday, so so yeah, more stress. But yeah, Monday I missed my makeup stream and the sound settings weren't working, so today, even though I usually do like a hangout kind of Friday things, I thought, I can do my prep show and do the makeup stream in one. So we're running under hashtag Quest of Variety, but it's going to be a full drag makeup tutorial as well, and potentially a reveal at the end because we have changed hair colour. I know you can see it a little bit, but you can't see all of it yet. No. So hopefully YouNow will continue to work because it took me like 5 attempts just to even get into the website and then 3 more attempts to actually go live. So let's see. But also I'm going to have to, for a little while, cover up my screen so I don't see myself, so I can put the mirror there. I'm also going to have to tell my phone to shut the hell up because I forgot that. But I can see the chat, so if anyone notices my screen go fuzzy, then let me know and then I can just fix it. Lisa, hey, how are you? Thank you for watching. So yeah, I'll just quickly tell you again what I told Nathan. We are broadcasting under Quest of Variety, but I'm going to be doing a full drag tutorial, but kind of like a quick one. And there's going to be a reveal at the end because the hair colour's changed as well. I know you can see a little bit of it right now, but you can't see the full amount of it. So we're going to do the whole whip everything off. So yeah, I'm not going to be using a hair weave or anything, so we're just going to focus on the makeup for this stream because that's what I have to do with prep anyway to do the show. And then when we finish, we're going to make it look really weird by ripping the weave cap off and revealing the natural hair. So, well, not natural, the new hair. So yeah, feel free to invite people to watch, and I'm going to grab a screenshot as well because I forgot that, so I'm just going to print screen right now. Hello, mirror. So there's my screenshot. And I hope Roxy will watch as well because she always wanted to see me do a drag tutorial. But if not, then it's also broadcasting to YouTube at the same time. She can always watch it back. So, skin is all prepped for the most part. One of the things that you got to do with drag, we don't have to, but a lot do, is... Oh, thank you for the 2,000 likes. Most appreciated. I am going to distract myself by writing that down because you just got 2 more in there as well. So let me find some space. There we go. Got it. Thank you. Much appreciated. And if anybody else does happen to drop likes, then I will catch up at the end of this. So don't worry. And we're also going to be using the new raid feature as well when I've finished, which, you know, Tom didn't say you couldn't do that, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so one of the things that you got to do with drag, which is kind of optional, but most people do, is glue down the eyebrows. And all you really need is literally a glue stick. It can be any kind of glue stick you want, or you can use the gum stuff. It doesn't really matter. But first of all, you need to go against the natural hairs, just so you get the back of them. And then when you think there's enough covered, go in the direction of the hairs. Don't forget to get captures and stuff, and thank you if you do. So yeah, first of all against and then with. And don't worry if you go over your brows. We will fix that in a minute. I've got some handy tips for you. Same again on the other side. Go against, just to make sure the back's covered. Oh, thank you. Most appreciated. Dana, hey, how are you doing? Thank you for watching. So first of all, against, and then with the direction of the hair. Oh, thank you for the 50, Kirsty. Most appreciated. And like I say, don't worry if you go and put too much on. We can fix that in a little moment. You would see this if it was actually a coloured stick, but it's not. And I know that if you've watched other drag competitions, then you've probably seen the purple one, but it's exactly the same thing, basically. Oh, thank you. Good luck to you as well. Is anybody nervous for tomorrow? Like, oh my God. Like, super nervous. Yeah, me too, always. Kirsty, I can't wait to see what you've done this week. We had the slutty brownies, then we had the emojis. I really cannot wait to see what you're doing this week. Actually, I was watching an old episode of Voyager where, just in case people haven't seen it, I'm talking about Star Trek, an old episode of Voyager where Tuvok lost his memory, and then he decided that he could make desserts. And somebody said to him, well, why only make desserts? And he was like, well, because they're fun. That's it. They're fun. Why not? I do apologise if my screen does go fuzzy, but if it does, someone type in the chat and let me know and I'll try to fix it. So, once you've got the glue on, give it a little time to dry. But whilst you're doing that, we're going to fix some of the edges just in case, because what you'll find is when you go to kind of like powder over it and stuff later is when you try to do the makeup, suddenly you'll have a resistant barrier. So, take a little makeup wipe and just go and get rid of the excess that isn't your brow. You don't have to do that, but it just helps a little bit. Now, some people do use 2 or 3 coats to make sure that it is literally glued down. But in the interest of time, I'm just literally here showing you what to do. So it doesn't matter if they are really covered or not tonight. We're just showing you how you would do it. Whether it turns out good or not is kind of highly irrelevant. So, get rid of the little excess around the brow, and then kind of touch it, and if it's kind of gone past that sticky stage, you're good to go. Another thing, some people actually would go straight in with powder at this point, or straight in with the foundation at this point, but another thing that you can do is grab one of these L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. It's a concealer palette, and inside you've got a couple of different shades of concealer that would match your foundation, and then you've got a red and a green. Now, the purple one is basically, it corrects colour distortion, so any dark circles under your eyes or anything, because that would be kind of red, so the green brings it back, it neutralises it. But if you've got any red blotches, kind of like me, you know, spots breaking out or something, then simple, the opposite way around. You know, you put the green over that, and yeah. So, the green one is for naturalizes redness. So yeah, anything red, you turn green. Anything green, you turn red. And you just basically make it neutral. But for this one, I used to use that one, but that's kind of running out. And I've noticed with the shade of foundation that I'm using and the powder at the minute, that's a closer match. So we're going to use that one. We're going to cover up as much as we can with the brows. Just get your little finger. Sorry, not little finger. The, what is that finger called? The ring finger, I guess. And the reason why you use the ring finger is because it's actually a direct line to your vein and it's the warmest, so it's better for makeup for that. And then we just pat it on. Don't rub too hard, otherwise you'll basically take the glue off, unless you put like 16 coats on there and then you're fine. And this is kind of like prepping before you do the actual foundation. So as you can see, they're almost starting to vanish already, but the powder and the foundation is going to take care of the rest of it. But this kind of just hides it a little more, like if you've got long strands or anything like that. Jessica, thank you for becoming a fan, most appreciated. And thank you for the 100 as well. Sorry if I missed that. I literally can't see my screen at the moment. I'm looking at the mirror, but I can see the chat. So if I do miss anything pop up on screen, I do apologise. So same on the other side. Little finger, sorry, ring finger, because it's warm. And the ring finger's good for if you're trying to use eyeshadows using your finger as well, because again, the heat allows the transfer to work better, especially if you're using shimmers and something sparkly, because sometimes when you use sparkly colours and shimmer colours, what you'll find is the payoff isn't that good, but if you use your warm finger, then it allows it to spread and glide more. Anyway, so now that we've got that done, this is low-key relaxing to listen to. I'm just finishing up my baking for tomorrow, and this is soothing. Oh, thank you. It's like the drag version ASMR. Pretty much. And always have on hand some makeup wipes so that you don't get all your fingers messy. Okay, so we can wait for that to dry if we want to, but a quick trick, and it also helps to create a barrier, is get some loose powder. You can get it to match the colour of what you just used, or you can get translucent powder. It really doesn't matter because the foundation's going to cover it anyway. And you're going to ask me, why are you using powder now and not after you've done your foundation? Well, I will show you. So, you need one of these, which is a cotton pad. They might be called something else in different countries, but it's a cotton pad. Fold it once, fold it again. And then basically dab it into the powder. And then cover the brows. So as you can see, they're practically vanishing already. But what this does is when you actually put your foundation on, I'm really hoping we don't crash because I'm getting error messages, so I do apologise. So yeah, when you put that on, this basically creates a barrier so that when you do your foundation, the glue doesn't start unsticking. Because the wonderful thing about foundation is it likes to go against glue. So we're already creating a barrier for it. So literally dab that on. Don't wipe it because you will actually wipe the glue off. And you'll also get some... Thank you. Yeah, so if you wiped it across, what you'd find is all the fluff would start coming off as well, just in case there's any more sticky bits. And yeah. So then we're going to grab our big fluffy brush just to dust off any excess. As you can see, especially with a really horrible camera, that has practically vanished. I can still see bits in the mirror, but you can see it's practically vanished. So before we move on to the next stage, I need to find what I'm looking for. Yes. So this is a infallible mattifying base primer. So I know we've just done our brows, but we can still use this because we've created a barrier already. This will basically ensure that there's no oils left on your skin, and also it will stop foundation from caking up. So rather than having that shine and caking that no one wants, it will soften it a little bit. And that stuff pretty much dries straight away, but we'll give it a second or two. If anybody has any questions, by the way, regarding what I'm doing, then feel free to ask and I can answer if I have the answer. There are lots and lots of different ways that people do this. I mean, some people use natural brows. I often use natural brows when I'm doing drag, but I wanted to create a stereotypical basic tutorial for you at the moment. So the base is on and I can already feel it dry. If you're not sure if it's dry, back of the hand, and if it doesn't feel like it's going to glide, then it's done. Same way you would kind of test water, I guess, but with the back of the hand. Thank you, Emily, most appreciated. Thank you, Kirsty, also appreciated. So now we move on to the foundation stage. Try, if you can, to get one to match your skin shade and tone. Now, this is the thing. People often ask, what is the difference between skin tone and skin shade? Skin shade is the colour you can see. Skin tone, there are only 3 tones. There are cool, neutral, and warm. The best way to tell what skin tone you are is to look at the veins on the back of your wrist. If you've got a blue vein, then you're a cool skin tone, in which case you would need something to warm that up to neutralise it again. If you can barely see your vein, then you're a neutral, then most shades standard will work. And if you get kind of like a greeny, sort of like dark effect, then you're a warm skin tone. Sorry, green and blue is cool. Purple and red is warm, in which case you need something to cool it down to bring it back into neutral. So that's how skin tones work, because a lot of people say, oh, I have nothing to match my skin tone, and what they mean is shade, not tone. So, just in case you wondered. So this one is Ivory Rose. The rose warms up my The rose warms up my cool skin tone, and the ivory is the face that you can see. So a couple of pumps on the back of the hand, if it works. Yes, it does. And then again, ring finger. Just to dot it in a couple places. You can go crazy with this if you want to, but less is more because the Beauty Blender is going to do the rest of the work. And usually I would pull this slightly further back, but then you would see the reveal of the hair, and I don't want you to see that just yet. Down the nose. Bring it around over the eye. I'm just going to literally speed through this because you know what I'm doing. So, tuck that back, bring it down the cheekbone, down the center, down there. And it's amazing. Girls and queens and everybody else will understand all the weird faces you pull when you're doing makeup. So, down there, down the center, along the jawbone, and anywhere you think it needs it, basically. So, with what's left on the back of the hand, grab yourself a Beauty Blender, and a lot of people make a mistake with Beauty Blenders. They get it straight out of the packet and start using it. No, with the Beauty Blender, you have to wet it first and then squeeze it so that, you know, all of the excess is out, but so that it's damp, because it's the damp part of the blender that actually allows it to blend through. If you're using a dry blender and it's not working, it's because it's just basically picking it up, shifting it around, and kind of sticking to the sponge. You don't want it sticking to the sponge. You want to, you know, the moisture creates a slight barrier but allows it to glide. So basically, dab it, don't wipe it, dab it. And move your hand as you're dabbing. Very simple. And I'm going to have to get hair out of my way, because I've seen a lot of people who use blenders and they wipe with it. Don't wipe, dab. And don't forget as well to cover the ears, because if one thing I've noticed and remembered is if the colour isn't quite right with your skin, I mean, I'm kind of in between two different shades, so if the colour isn't quite right, the one thing you will tell is ears and neck. So always get the ears, and then with the neck it's very simple. You just basically, when you're doing the powder stage, just bring it down a little bit. But just now, we're going to finish putting that in everywhere, blending. And I really should have set up my ring light, which I'm going to set up for Saturday, because it's a lot darker in here now than it used to be, because of course winter is starting to, well, autumn is starting to set in. So we're going for darker nights, unfortunately. Unless, of course, you happen to live in Australia and then winter's actually summer, but hey-ho. Morgan, hey, thank you for joining. How are you? So remember, dab, don't wipe. And just make sure that that's everywhere. And I really could use a slightly different light as well, because it is super, 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 super dark here. Now, if you think that the brows are coming slightly unglued, you can go back in with the powder just around the eyes, but I'm not going to do that stage just now because they feel kind of okay. I'm going to finish the contour and highlight first. So, contour you want to get, I'd say maybe 2 shades darker than your own skin. This one happens to be, and I do recommend these, but you can't find them anywhere now, is a Max Factor pan stick, and this is in the shade 14, which is Cool Copper, I do believe. So glad I did my makeup today, bringing me back. Aww. So, we shall do the top, basically over the crown. Now, when I take the weave cap off later, you are actually going to see a little bit here that I didn't do, but when you're doing drag, it's not that bad because the weave cap will provide your hairline and then everything's going to sit on there anyway. But unfortunately, as age creeps in, if I take this off now, you're going to have the little bit where I missed. But okay, so if you want to know where your contour lines are for your cheek, smile and then follow the same line. A little mark there, a little mark there, and then stretch your skin like that and start just above the ear and then bring it all the way down, and then just where the top of the earlobe is, bring it in. See, simple. And then hopefully they should be relatively centered. Oh, thank you. Me too. And then fill that little bit in. You don't have to go crazy because the Beauty Blender is going to take care of the rest of that. And then for the nose, people are slightly different. People have different noses, nose shapes. But for me, as my drag daughter once said, I have an envious nose. But what you're doing with contour is you're basically bringing things... with contour, you're setting things backwards. With highlight, you're bringing things forward. So shadow, sunlight. Just think of it that way. And then if you like to do like overdrawn lips or make your lips a little bit bigger, just underneath there. So that's a contour done, but I'm not going to blend it yet because next we got to go for the concealer. Now I do actually have a white one and it is great, especially if you want to do lots of shiny highlight, but that one actually ran out, so I'm switching back to the L'Oreal Match Perfect Concealer, which is in the shade Ivory. Not Ivory Rose, because we don't want warm, we just want the coolness of the actual tone of the shade. You will always find that if you get a matching concealer, it won't have the colour, it won't have the warming or cooling element to it, it'll just be the shade on its own. But if you're not entirely sure, or I'd recommend going maybe a shade or two lighter than what you've actually got. So usually, when I do up here, I would go over the brows, but I'm going to lift it slightly because we're not using our brows, we're actually redrawing in brows. So down the nose, over the Cupid's bow, just little dots. Under here. I'm getting so many messages right now, you can probably hear it, it's going crazy. And then, in the eyes, just basically make a little triangle if you want to, and then join them up. But you don't need a lot, just little dots, and you'll be fine. And then join those up as well. And again, the Beauty Blender is going to do the rest. So, now just blend the living hell out of it. So, all the dark bits, basically start where you started and follow it round, because otherwise if you start in a different location with the blending, what you'll find is, you know, the one you did first will dry a lot quicker and it might be a little bit harder to blend it, especially with the white concealer. That does tend to dry very quickly, so if I was using that one, then I would have done that one in stages. So cheeks, I know I did the nose first, but I'm going to do the cheeks first. We can emphasize this later by using a contour palette as well, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to. But you will see it tomorrow. So yeah, I was thinking to myself, you know, what can I really do for a prep show this week without revealing what I'm going to do? And I thought, oh, well, makeup is practically the most preppy part of what I do, so why not do a makeup show? And Roxy has been wishing to see me do a drag tutorial, so 3 in 1. And I hope that you can still see my screen, because sometimes my camera likes to go crazy, especially if my mirror's in front, because it creates a shadow and then the focus kind of glitches out a little bit. Now, if you were someone who had kind of like a ridge on the nose, then rather than going all the way down with the contour, you would basically just go slight way down, miss where the ridge is, and then again, because you're basically trying to create that same level. And then again with the highlight, you would only do the middle and not all of it. Does that make sense? And then to make sure it's blended in, we can just dab upwards towards the hairline as well. There you go. Now you can see the Cupid's bow a little bit better, and we've created an extra line on the lip by using the concealer. The lips are now slightly fuller. which helps later when we come to do the lip colour, because then you've got an extra kind of guide to follow, because you've increased the size of it by concealing it. You've brought it forward. You know, by putting light on, you've attracted attention to it. Whereas if you wanted to create something deeper, then you would contour it to push it backwards. One of the easiest things to do with drag makeup as well is, believe it or not, a cut crease. And people find cut creases hard, but it's actually one of the easiest things to do with drag. But once I've finished this stage, I can actually remove the mirror and see you all and talk to you all as well. So, give that a couple seconds whilst we clear up a little bit. And then you're going to want a huge fluffy brush, literally a powder brush. And we're going to go back to the powder, make sure we got enough. This isn't the powder that I normally use, but I couldn't find the one that I had actually ran out, so I had to buy a new one, and of course they didn't have the one I want. So, powder everywhere, dab it on first so it can have time to bake a little while. Again, in interest of time, I'm not going to let it bake too long, I'm just showing you the basics. So, first of all, dab it everywhere. And then, starting from the top to the bottom, at the forehead, windscreen wiper motions, because you're following the shape of your head. Same with the brows, sweep the way they would go. And then with the eyes, you go from there, round and up. Follow that line. Because otherwise, it will just look weird. Can't explain why it works, but it does. The nose, you want to follow it down, because that's the way. Basically, you're just following the shape of everything. So, down by the mouth, which is fine, and then the cheeks, simply brush it off in the direction where it would go. Otherwise, it will look smeared, basically. And then, if it doesn't quite match around the neck, simple. Whatever's left on the brush will usually cover that slight difference up. So there you go. There is the base, all done. We're now going to move on to redrawing our brows and also doing eyes. So I need more brushes, which are all over here. And I can also remove this mirror and allow a little bit of light back in. Yay! How are you all? I know you could see me, but I can see me now as well, which is good. So I need to find my little palette. I've got loads of palettes down there, but this one not only has a mirror, but it's also kind of cute as well. So usually I would use a shadow shield to get the look of following the wing. But because we're kind of extending it to a fake one, we don't really need it. But what I do need is an angled brush, as soon as I can find it. And I know I have one in here somewhere because I found it before. Don't you just hate that? You have these things floating around and then poof, they're gone. I found one. Here it is. Okay, so tiny mirror, lots of cute colours. And to keep it simple, I'm just going to basically draw in the cut crease and then we're going to go back with the eyebrows later. So this is literally called Black Cab. It's the Sleek Makeup Eye Divine Removal Based Eyeshadow Palette in Original 594. So the first colour is Black Cab. And this is where we're going to put our crease in. Now remember, we're actually going higher than where the crease originally was because we're redrawing the eyebrows in as well. So, as you would normally follow the crease, take it slightly higher, and where your natural brow used to be, that's where the crease is going to be. So, oh, and always a good tip, if you're not always particularly good at making one side match the other, And there's also the whole left hand, right hand kind of thing. Always do your bad side first and then the good side second, because you've got more chance of matching the good side than doing a really good job and getting the bad side to match. So always do the bad side first and then the good side to match afterwards. Of course, that's information that I never listen to myself, so thank you everybody for the likes, by the way. I really appreciate it, and thank you for sharing the stream. I hope I'm not boring you too much. So, follow the line of your eyes, the way they're actually going. Take that out. And then from just where the nose bridge is, you're going to take that all the way across. And if you want to, you can take it all the way out, or you could start bringing it down where your natural brow comes down. But then that basically gives you the original crease. I'm going to take that down because I've got a huge forehead. And we haven't completely done yet, because you can fill that in as much as you want, or you know, you could leave it like that if you wanted to. But as you can see, we've basically created where our inner crease would already have been. And I am literally blasting through this, so it's probably going to look horrendous compared to the time that I have, you know, behind the scenes doing it. But same again, you find where that line is on your eyes, follow it out, take it out. You should try to relax as much as possible as well, because when you stretch your face, you get different results. So whatever you do on one side, make sure you do it on the other side, basically. So that one, we're going to take it all the way through. And as you can tell, there was a little bit more glue this side, because you can see as it starts fading compared to that one. That's because there was a little bit of excess glue underneath. And we can fill those in later. So that's that one. Okay, so now we can switch to I'm going to actually use a pencil brush for this one, just to fill in the rest of it. So pencil brush, same colour, and just fill in as much of that as you want. And with a cut crease, we can also bring in a little bit there as well, because a cut crease does go that way. And I will be right back, bear with me. Hi everybody! Sorry, that was a really weird encounter. Yes, an old neighbour of mine moved out last year, and unfortunately, he's been posting on social media recently that he's taken medication that he shouldn't have done, and of course the police came here to find out if he was okay, but unfortunately he doesn't live here anymore, so not really much I could offer in the way of help, but I hope he's okay. Anyway, on with the prep show. So we're just basically filling that in now with colour, just to make it slightly more even as well, as much as we can. Exactly how you would see in a cut crease. Now, if you really wanted to, you could leave the inner part of it blank. But I'm going to use purple to go in. So it is going to look rather deep by the time I've finished. But as you can see, basically, that is redrawing in the crease that you would do on your normal eyelid. But you've taken it higher because we're going to be drawing separate brows later. So I'm just going to finish filling in this side to make it slightly deeper. Now, another thing as well, if you wanted to, in order to map out your crease, you could use a lighter colour and then go over with a darker colour. You can use brow gel or pencils or anything you want, and then just basically go over it with a powder later. So if you've got like gel colours, that would work to give it a base, and then you could just go over with the powder to emphasise it and to seal it as well. Lots and lots and lots of different techniques that you can use. So we're going to fill that in. Try and make them look as equal as possible. I'm going to deepen that up just a little bit. Oops, I hit the mirror instead of tapping the brush off. Now, I would usually take a lot longer, a lot more care at this, so these are probably going to be more like cousins and not even sisters. Forget twins, you know. Tomorrow night it will look a lot better. Okay, so then we can also, if we want to, depending on what colour you wanted to use, if you wanted to use a really bright colour, then I would recommend first of all going in with a white-ish kind of concealer, then sealing it with a light or a translucent powder, and then going in with the bright colour that you want. But, again, to save time and just to get things done, because that's what we're doing right here, I'm just going to go over purple because that's one of the colours that I already had on my brushes, and I think it's that one. This particular colour is called Royal, and it's that one right there, right next to the black. You can't really see it that well on camera, but we're going to load up the brush, and I could, if I wanted to, conceal this and you know, build up a little better, but like I said, this is just a quick rendition of what I would do to prepare on a full night, so I'm not going to care about it being absolutely fabulous at the moment. It's just, this is what I would do, but take longer doing it, possibly. So you just wanna fill in that purple everywhere, and it doesn't matter if you go over the black because it will add to it and emphasize it, so that's good. Especially in the corners, it will give it that kind of smoky effect, so you can just bring it from the corners and bring it in there if you want to. One of the other things that you can do when you're doing a cut crease as well as doing drag is, if you're using the brow gel to start off with, is line your eyes, and then where you would bring the cat wing up, bring it up to match this. So you know, your line would start here and then you'd bring it all the way up. So you would just, same as a normal cut crease. But I'm not going to be doing the liner. Oops! I went for the completely wrong colour, so now I need another brush. I went into the black for some reason then, because I is dumb sometimes. And if you do get any fallout, don't worry, because there's a trick for that, as long as it's not too heavy. I mean, one trick is to, when you're putting the powder on, the setting powder, is to leave it there and make sure there's an excess of it, because then once any fallout has gone, you can just brush it straight off again. But if you're very careful, you can do that anyway without powder. So we're just going to quickly finish this off. And rather than take too long with this show tonight, because it is only a prep show, so I want to be relatively quick. We've already been here for 42 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to show this side, and I'm not going to do lips, because they're practically easy. One of the things that people wanted to see in this video was gluing brows and how you would redraw your own eyebrows. So we're going to skip the 2 steps for the lips and everything else. And we're going to now focus on the eyebrows. So, first of all, you want a concealer, which we had before, and another, preferably an angled brush, so you can kind of see the direction you're going in, but any kind of small brush is fine. So, using the same concealer, getting a little bit on an angled brush, and then we're literally going to follow, at the moment, our original brow, okay? And it also helps conceal what we started to. So just follow that line all the way around, the line that you've created. You might need a few goes at it because, you know, keep reloading the brush. So just follow your actual brow all the way down to the tail, and then just to add that little bit more depth, because there's usually a gap where you would have the highlight and then your brow. So same again, but this time on top of where you just created. And if you've got the smile lines in the middle, you can actually use that as a guide as how high or how low to go as well. But this time we want to start creating that arch as well. So you take it up so far and then start blending that into the original line, because there's always a smaller gap with the brow bone. And we're going to give that a little chance to dry, but not too long. Again, interest of time. And we're going to get a really big fluffy brush. Well, it doesn't have to be really big, it can be a small fluffy brush, like that. And then whilst it's drying, we're going to help it along just a little bit with setting powder. And I just remembered I need to pop some more out, so a little bit of setting powder. And you don't want to swipe just yet. Dab it across the concealer that we've just done. And don't worry if any gets down to the brows, because that's going to wipe off. And then once that is actually dry, then you can take your big brush and just wipe off the excess. So that's where we're actually going to be using the highlight in a second. Now we want another angled brush, and I'm going to make this really deep, just so you can see. Actually, no, I'm going to do it the normal way. I'm not going to make it deep, I'm going to do it the normal way. So I have a brow kit here which has its own angled brush, and I also have brow gel with it. So this one is actually chocolate mousse, the colour. And it's very simple. You've seen me do it with the concealer. It's basically exactly the same for this next step. So for this next step, where your concealer was, you start just above it and literally follow it, trace it. That's, you know, you can make brows as dramatic as you want, but I'm just going to follow the line of where my brow actually was. So you're going to make that first arch slightly bigger, and then follow the rest of the line. So I'm going to create a tail on this one. So the tail is practically the size that I want it. You know, some people do really dramatic brows, some people do rainbows, some people do all kinds of stuff, some people do really thick slugs. It's personal taste. You can practically do them however you want. So, make the beginning slightly thicker, and then where the arch starts, bring it back in so that it eventually meets up with that tail. And one thing that is really, again, personal preference, but it is a good thing, is once you've created that line using the gel, go over it again with powder, but then when you're going to move on to your highlight, is grab a little bit of highlighter on a brush and just go over that first couple of millimeters of your brow, just to give it that little bit of an ombre effect. You probably can't see very well on the camera here, but it kind of gives it a slightly lighter effect and then makes the tail deeper. As you can see there. And then you can use any colour you want for the brow highlight. You can use silver, you can use, you can go very subtle, but I'm going to continue using this one, which I would use for the rest of the face anyway. And then that's where we're just going to go over where the concealer was, just to make that area stand out a little bit. And it also, believe it or not, this particular one helps to correct anything that you might have done bad on your crease. So it helps to kind of cover that up too. So camera bad at the moment, but as you can see, that is actually starting to shimmer a bit more and starting to stand out. That's where your normal highlight would be. So again, interest of time, for your nose highlight, same again, just ring finger and then just run it down the bridge of your nose. And that will add a lighting effect to it. Be careful not to go on the sides as well, because we want to keep that dark. Usually with a sort of like a black and purple eye, what I would do is also create a black lip and then seal it with powder and then go over with purple powder to give it a kind of a bit of an ombre effect. But we're almost up to the hour anyway, so I'm not going to do that stage. This is basically just teaching you the steps. So we've done the eyes, we've done the brows, we've done the highlights. If you want to do highlight cheeks, basically grab a angled fluffy brush, which is that one, and you would go under the eye and then bring it back up and make sure that your cheekbones are covered, and then maybe over across the top of the head and down the nose again as well. Also, if you want to make your cupid's bow stand out, you can use that brush or a slightly smaller brush, pout your lip, cover your cupid's bow, and then just down the top of the lip, that makes the lip stand out a little bit more as well. And then, I completely lost train of thought there for a second. So basically that would use to highlight everywhere. You do the lips the same. And then, a step that I'm not actually going to create tonight for you, but if I do a future video on YouTube or on here, then I will do a full recorded one to show you the steps, but it'll be a lot quicker than watching it live. The next step would be to do eyelashes. So best thing to do first, obviously, is to curl your natural lashes, then to add a coat of mascara to those, then put on your false lashes. So run a coat of glue across your false lashes, allow it to dry for about 10-20 seconds, and apply it once it starts to go tacky. So if it's still wet, don't put it on. Put it on when it starts to go a little bit tacky. And the best way to do it is to look down at a mirror as you're going towards your eye with it, and you'll get everything in the right place. Some people like to follow the shape of their actual eyelashes. Other people like to go straight across and bring it out. That gives a little bit of lift and volume, especially if you've got hooded eyes or really closed eyes. The more you can get it to lift up, the better. But if you're following your natural shape of your eyelashes, then make sure they're crimped together with tweezers that you're applying them with, and then apply a second coat of mascara as well, and that just helps stick them together, but also gives it that dramatic look as well. So you could start off with a thin wispy lash, but by the time you've added the second coat of mascara and matched them with your own lashes, you get that extra effect, and then they lift up and out as well. So I'm not going to continue with the makeup look tonight because I do have a couple of things to attend to, and we are almost up on the hour for the prep stream. I know Tom did say we can go for as long as we want, but Roxy is going to be live in approximately 30 minutes anyway, and I don't want you to miss that because Roxy's getting drunk tonight and she's having a party. So we're all going to go over to that. So this is going to look extremely, extremely weird. But I did promise you all a reveal. But I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to show you that tomorrow night during the competition. So thank you everybody for watching. It's been absolute fun. Don't forget to join Roxy for her party later, or whomever else you may wish to go and see. But yeah, that is basically my prep for practically every show that I do, particularly if I'm doing drag. And that's one of the only little hints you're going to get tomorrow. That has not revealed any secrets about tomorrow at all. So thanks for watching. Thank you everybody for likes. Very much appreciated. I'm going to very quickly note down people have given me likes because the competition is still going every time I broadcast. So I'm going to very quickly do that. Emily 70. Kirsty 60. James 46. Thank you. Apologies if I missed these, by the way, peeps, when I was doing makeup. And also Jessica 100. Yeah, so very quickly, just before I do log off, if you are interested in this, as I'm pushing to get towards level 80 so I can do chest to give things back to people, then for every 400 likes you send me, you'll get one entry into the £500 cash draw spinny wheel. As soon as we reach level 80, the wheel will be spun. Whoever it lands on gets the £500. PayPal is required so I can send it to you, and also is proof that I have sent it to you. And the points are cumulative. So, for example, Jessie, she's given 100 likes. If she, for example, maybe gave me another 300 tomorrow or whenever, all the way until the competition ends, that would total 400. So it's not per stream, it's not per whenever, it's all cumulative. So everybody stands a chance, and I will be updating everybody's scores or amounts on my Discord page. So if you want to join Discord, the link is on my profile, and everybody is more than welcome to join, and the rest of my social media as well. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me, apart from one final tip. If you do get any of the fallout, if it's on your nose, brush down, and if it comes underneath your eye, which this one has, you go follow the shape and flick out. Don't push too hard. Get your fluffy brush, and hopefully there's still some powder left on anyway, which will help conceal. It'll stop you basically having to redo your foundation. So lightly brush under and flick in the direction that you're going. On the nose, brush it down, but again, very lightly. That basically stops your fallout from ruining your look. And if you're lucky enough to have one, but you don't have to, grab yourself a little angled brush like this, which would help with contour for your nose and for your cheeks, but you don't have to do those. Oxygen, you arrived just as I'm about to leave. Darling, oh, yes, mother. So, just because Oxygen's here, I'm going to very quickly explain what I was doing tonight. So, I'm in the Quest of Variety, and we do performances every weekend. And during the week, we're allowed to do preparation shows, which show people how we get ready for our show. So, tonight was just a drag makeup tutorial, but rather than going all the way through and completing the look, I was just showing stage by stage. So, this was how to do the crease, this was how to fill in the crease and the brows, No point doing lips because that's the same, but I told them how to do shadow and highlight with contour and concealer. By the way, everybody, this is my drag daughter, who's also my cousin in real life, Oxygen Queen, and she will also be in the drag competition, which is coming up, audition starting in January. But I'll tell you more about that on my own stream, not on my prep stream. So that's the show for tonight. I will be back tomorrow in Quest of Variety, doing my bit, and if you want to come and watch, then please watch. It's going to be Saturday night, 10 p.m. UK, Quest of Variety participants night, when we will all be doing our thing. So, love you all. See you all. Catch you on the flip side. That's me done. There's no one else to raid because Roxy's not live yet. So, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Thank you, everybody, for the likes. Most appreciated. And I love you all. Oxygen, message me. I'll catch you in a minute.